I am going to be giving you an energy update, really, I guess an energy forecast about what we're going to be looking at in 2025. I'm going to be doing this intuitively. I'm also going to be using a divination tool, so I think you'll enjoy this a lot. I'm also going to be doing some reading into it by the I Ching, by looking at the gates specifically for a couple of the eclipses that are coming up. I'm really excited to dive into 2025. I actually cast runes, and the only rune that came up, I did it before we started so that I wouldn't be taking too much of the time casting the runes. But anyway, the only rune that actually came faced up that I can see in the spread is the first one. And so I already know what the first one is just because of casting them. And it is apropos. It is appropriate. So we're going to look into this. And as I said, we're going to focus on miracles. We're going to look at how you can harness the energies of the cycles of the season and the cosmic energies of the season, as well as the cosmic energies that are coming up. Okay, 2025. So I'm first going to tap in, and even though, again, like I said, I already have the rune that is looking up at me. And for those who are not familiar with runes, I'll talk about what those are here in just a sec too. At any rate, okay, so 2025, the first quarter, that will be January, February, and March. And so what we have here is a spike of challenging energies in January. And that's happening all over the planet. I am in Los Angeles, and that has been happening in my literal neighborhood with the wildfires. And there's also still political and social unrest and challenge and all of that that's going on. And so then what we're moving through, just to give it a nice arc, in February, we kind of have, it's just almost a coasting energy, but what's coming in as an undercurrent is the opportunity, almost like it shows me like it's at the ground level. You're feeling hope seeping up again. And then by the time we get to March, we actually have, maybe we're starting to taste hope, like hope has come higher up into our energy body, to maybe even the throat, and to where it can be feeling like I could begin to activate in hope. But in March, I shouldn't say but, and in March, we have some opportunities. That's when we have an eclipse season occurring in March. We have some opportunities to really do some of the cleanup. It's like we're going to be well resourced by the time March comes around. And then we actually have the opportunity to dig in and look at how we can benefit from the karma, the lessons, the challenge that we have been moving through. And by the time March comes around, we're actually well resourced to do that work. Basically, this first quarter is kind of about that chaos, that turbulence, difficulty that is happening now. And when something is happening now, it calls up our deeper traumas. That's why people say we're triggered. So collectively, that's what has been happening. New traumas are occurring as well. And so then this is what I mean by the time we get to March, both the cycles, the collective energy, the neutrino field is going to be offering the resource of being able to go ahead and clean up that energy of trauma. Now, how we can do this among ourselves is to do our inner work first, and then have calm and compassionate conversations. Ooh, that's a good alliteration. Calm, compassionate conversations. And then that's how we can build that bridge, but it starts with us individually. So now for the reveal of what the rune that I pulled is. Oh, I should talk about what runes are. Runes, this is the little card that has runes on it. Runes are about 1,000 years older than tarot. And they are a system that are particularly from the Norse culture and also in the Celtic and British culture. They're very much a part of my culture, my ancestry. And they are wonderful for helping to support you as a divination tool to pull truth forward for you about personally what is happening. And they also really honor cycles. And this is one of the things that I love about runes, is how they do honor natural cycles, whether they're cosmic or in our earth nature. Because sometimes when we're thinking about manifestation and being spiritually high vibe and everything, we might take that too literally and think that we're never going to have cycles, you know what I mean, of either higher energy, lower energy, or challenge or trauma, or just that things are going powerfully our way. And so the runes help us to understand how to weather the weather, the cosmic weather. That's what I want to share with you. So they're often etched on either stone and or wood, and I have them on wood. So our rune for the first quarter of 2025, it looks like an H, and it is for Hagalaz. And Hagalaz means hail or hailstorm. And unfortunately for, again, my neighborhood, that has been a firestorm. Sadly, very, very sadly. So hail is an interesting kind of offering from nature. Obviously, hail is causing destruction as it pelts the earth. And at the same time, that destruction is needed. If you think of hail, big pieces of hail pelting the earth, while the creatures, like the humans and the animals, have to hide and shelter from it, and plants are destroyed and the earth is destroyed, that destruction on the earth is also stimulating the nutrients of the earth so that as it can break things down, it can then also make it more available to yield a healthy harvest later. So that is what hail is offering to us. Now, the other wonderful things, in order for us to take the good kind of advantage from it, the offering to help us with miracles from the hailstorm that we are experiencing in the first quarter, is to call upon our own protection or fortification. We are able to find ourselves inner support and also to the support of those who are close to us, the support of that which we have already available to us. So if it feels like maybe I'm losing some things, or perhaps I'm plateau and I'm not gaining very much, then what I have, I am here to be grateful for and to find the strength and the grounding in that. Now, this is also a rune that we can use to create luck. So actually, luck magic. So this time when we might have the hatches battened down a little bit, especially in the January to February time, we can also, while we're battened down in the hatches and we're in our inner working, we can be focusing on luck magic and quick transformations, because hail is quick and forceful. And we can also find our inner strength to feel successful and powerful while navigating difficult situations. And while we're navigating a difficult situation and we are feeling successful at that, someone else that we love or someone else in the whole landscape of our ecosystem will be experiencing a difficult situation, maybe when we are not, but we have gained that strength. And so it also is basically the opportunity, Hagalaz, the hailstorm, the opportunity to break an unhealthy pattern. Because once again, think of that hail hitting the earth, breaking it down and shaking things up, shattering patterns. That is the gift of a difficult time. That is the gift of a hailstorm that we have going on January through March. Now, let's look at March a little more closely, because that is really proximate. So I'm going to take more time on especially this first quarter, because it's right here. And then I'm going to, I plan to do these updates regularly, but this is an overarching one, isn't it? So let's look at March, because March we have our first set of eclipses. And the first eclipse in March is March 13th and 14th, and it is, I'm moving my notes around for myself. It's a total lunar eclipse, and it is happening at a full moon. So it's March 13th and 14th, and I'll let you look up your time zone. I'm not mentioning the precise time that this is happening, because the overarching energies are covering those days anyway in the peak and post-shadow of it. And so what I'm going to highlight for us are actually the gates of the moon according to the I Ching. And if you're familiar with human design, these transits are a part of human design. And that's what I'm focusing on. There are plenty of people who are astrologers that focus on, the astrology of it. And this is a different kind of astrology of it. But I thought I would throw the flavor in of the thing that I really like. Now, I'll share with you also, in case you are familiar with human design, I'm a reflector. And so the transit field is something that reflectors actually feel and process more than any other time. We have no defense against it, even. We have no filter between ourselves and the transit field. So that's another reason why I'm really wanting to highlight the gates, the transits for this time. So at any rate, March 13th and 14th. Now, the moon will be transiting through that time, gates 64, 6, and 18. I'm going to focus on gates 6 and 18 because 64 is mostly on the pre-shadow side of it. 6 is right at the peak of when this full lunar eclipse is occurring. And then 18 is kind of the resolve of the energies. So there will be a full moon that happens on the 13th. I'm in Pacific time zone. It's happening almost at midnight. It's at 11:55 p.m. So it's like kind of at that crossover point. That's when the full moon kind of strikes, but it's really the full moon is happening this whole period here. And when the eclipse is happening and also when the full moon is actually striking, the moon will be in gate 6. And gate 6, what a beautiful gate this is. Gate 6, the shadow of gate 6 is conflict. And so again, thinking of our Hagalaz rune, just observing what, where the strife, challenge, conflict has been going on in our recent times. So if we see the shadow that is being amplified by the moon receding in her light from us, that's what an eclipse is, and it's a total eclipse. That means that we are going to be, we have the opportunity to be very present with the shadow of conflict, meaning we can stand in the energy of it, allow ourselves to be okay with the discomfort of conflict, face maybe our fears of conflict, confrontation and conflict. I know I have those. Of course, we all do. And to be able to find our strength in that so that we could move to the gift of gate 6, which is diplomacy. Ooh, diplomacy, what a beautiful word, what a beautiful ministry if this is something that is a part of what you do in life. And it is something that we all have available to us, of course. So let's look at what diplomacy is. Diplomacy is honoring everyone's needs by, especially from the place of intellect and cognitive empathy. And what I mean by cognitive empathy is different than the empathy of like absorbing and feeling everything. It is going, I recognize and honor what it is that you need and what your challenges are and what your opinions are and what you are decreeing is important to you. I honor what you decree is important to you, what your challenges are, what your needs are. And these two sides have a conflict. So let's see, me as the diplomat of this, how I can bring an awareness that will find a way that we can all have a win-win-win, which takes us to the Siddhi, which is like the divine gift, Siddhi. And I'm referencing here the gene keys for the gate 6 shadow, gift, and Siddhi. And the gift of gate 6 is peace. So we move from conflict and we take everything about conflict that can lead us to diplomacy. And how beautiful. That is what we need, is diplomacy, so that we can all be in peace. This is inner work that can give us the opportunity to shine that as an outer working. So that is our total lunar eclipse, the 13th and the 14th. And it's going to really be these energies. So what I would encourage you to do, if you want to be really intentional about what you're doing in March to help us to move through this first quarter, is to reflect and contemplate these energies of conflict, diplomacy, and peace. And I'm feeling like suggesting that you might even journal about diplomacy. And that could be the conflict that's within you, or what you might see for someone who's close to you, or any of the conflict that we are aware of. And so again, it's a total lunar eclipse. So when the moon is full and she's shining her light, what she has done is she's gone through approximately 29 days of gathering information from the sun and gathering information from the earth. And she is creating a calibration of that. And so when the moon is full, she is manifesting. She is showing you our manifestation, our collective manifestation as the diplomat between the sun and the earth. And she's shining it for you. But this period, at least for a moment, we are going to basically not experience during the total eclipse. We're going to have the withdrawal of that emotional energy of manifestation, turning us into ourselves. And it can even make us create a sense of panic. But if we are very present to it, beautiful work can happen. So that is the first eclipse in March. After that gate 6, the moon moves into gate 18. And so kind of like the following through energies of it. And by the way, the moon changes gates every 6 to 8 hours, something like that. So that's why I'm kind of mentioning the gates that are around it. So gate 18 is the shadow of that is judgment. The gift is integrity. And the city is perfection. And I love that divine perfection. Divine perfection is everything's perfect because it's imperfect. Integrity is I am integrated and my reality is able to agree with the reality, and I'm honest from that place. And then of course judgment is the space of removing compassion and having expectations that are more conditional, whether it's of ourself or of another. So that's where we get to kind of finish up some energies after this eclipse in March. Then March 29th is our second eclipse, and this is going to be a partial solar eclipse. So partially, we will be losing some of our sense of life force that we receive, our nourishment. We're not really, but we have the sense for a moment that we have been left. It is this idea of when a solar eclipse is occurring, of Jesus on the cross, and Jesus says, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which is, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? And so when the sun is eclipsed from us, we feel forsaken by life. Now it's just partial, so it's not going to be as dramatic, but it's still something that we're going to experience. Now this solar eclipse, March 29th, again, another opportunity to clean up and benefit from the challenge we've had from this first quarter of January through March. This eclipse on March 29th, partial solar eclipse, will be in gates 17, just at the pre-shadow. That's just like right before it happens. Then it moves into gate 21. So gate 20, I'll focus on, gate 17, the shadow is opinion. Like that is a shadow. The gift is far-sightedness, so, being able to have an envisioning sense. And then the city, the divine gift, is omniscience, to be able to divinely see everything. So that is just pre-shadowing this partial solar eclipse. The solar eclipse is really going to be in gate 21. And so the shadow of gate 21 is control. And that Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani really turns us to, I'm out of control. I have been forsaken by life and life force. And by the way, control overall, if I can just talk about this for ourselves, control is an illusion. We never have control, which is why we all came to listen to an energy forecast for 2025, because we want to feel like we have control, but we know we don't have control. So let's just try to release control altogether, or at least our insistence on it, because all that really does is create a lot of tension and anxiety within us. So the shadow of 21, that our partial solar eclipse in March of 2025, March 29th of 25, the shadow is control. The gift is authority. And what I love about this word authority is that the first 2 syllables is author. It means you work from your authorship. And in this case, too, we might let life or the universe or source energy, prime creator, be the author who is overseeing everything and trusting in authority. Now, I would say the inner work here is to really contemplate and be with your inner authority, because that is your true authority. What is going on outside of ourselves is not the true authority. What is going on inside of ourselves is the true authority. And then that will help us to connect powerfully, empowered, to what is going on outside, so that we can use that kind of clarity about where this outside authority is also just occurring. But our primary authority is inner, inside oneself. And then the city of 21, which is again that energy of the March 29th partial solar eclipse, is Valor. Ooh, isn't that beautiful? To be able to be on a path of valor and bravery that is well earned. And there is a humility, a humbleness that is with this valor as well, because it is a beautifully earned and like the hero's journey coming on the other side of that as valor. That is our first quarter. We're going to come out victorious in this year, and we're going to create miracles with the energies that we have going on. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you want to see more, then of course do subscribe and click the bell so you get notifications for when I'm going live and when I post other videos. Also be sure to check the description, because there are all kinds of things going on in courses and services. There's also some free gifts that will subscribe you to my newsletter so that you can get notified when anything's happening on this channel. And of course, when I'm doing things like deals, special deals on services and courses. I am so grateful to connect with you. Thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.